Long before nations had names, before temples of stone and cities of light, humanity looked upon the world and saw gods everywhere. In the whisper of the wind, in the crash of the river, in the ancient trees that reached toward the heavens. To two distant peoples, the Japanese and the Celts, the natural world was not just alive, it was sacred. Every mountain, storm, and animal carried the breath of divinity. Though oceans and centuries separated them, these two civilizations, Japan in the east and the Celtic lands of Europe in the west, were bound by a shared vision that the world itself was a living spirit. Every act of reverence, every offering of food, every whispered prayer to the unseen was part of a conversation with the divine that shaped their lives. In Japan, this understanding took form in Shinto, the way of the gods. In the Celtic world, it pulsed through the Druidic tradition, an oral faith that saw the sacred in every stone and stream. Two paths, two worlds, but one ancient heartbeat, the belief that the gods dwell not in the heavens above, but in the earth beneath our feet. In the oldest Japanese myths, before time was measured and before the first shrine was built, there existed a boundless sea of mist. From this void rose two beings, Izanagi and Izanami, the divine parents who stirred the ocean with a jeweled spear. When they lifted it, droplets fell back into the waters, forming the islands of Japan. From their union came countless kami, spirits of mountains, seas, trees, and wind. They were not distant gods, but immediate presences, the soul of the land itself. The Celts, too, told of a primeval world born of chaos and life intertwined. Their gods were not far away, but walked among them, in the rustle of oak leaves, in the shimmer of water over stone, in the silence of sacred hills. They spoke of Danu, the mother of waters, who birthed the gods of the Tuatha De Danann, a race of shining beings who ruled Ireland before retreating into the hidden mounds of the earth. To both peoples, creation was not an act that ended. It was a process that continued every day, in every storm, sunrise, and breath. The Japanese kami and the Celtic gods both taught reverence, not worship from afar, but participation in a living, breathing world. The world was not built for humans alone. Humans were guests in a home far older than themselves. In Japan, every mountain could be a god. Every river had its own will. The thunder, the harvest, even the stones on a roadside might harbor spirits deserving respect. Shrines rose from these beliefs, not to contain the divine, but to honor it. A single torii gate marked the threshold between the human and the sacred. Beyond it, the air itself felt different, heavier, older, alive. The Celts shared this understanding. They built no cathedrals, for the forest was already a temple. Their rituals took place in clearings surrounded by oak and ash, beneath skies unbroken by roof or wall. They too built gateways, stone circles aligned with stars, where druids read the language of the heavens through fire and wind. The sacred was not hidden, it was everywhere, waiting to be acknowledged. For the Japanese, the kami were countless. There were great deities like Amaterasu, the radiant sun goddess who illuminated the world, and small ones like the spirit of a single tree. To honor them, people left offerings, rice, sake, or simple prayers written on wooden plaques. Each act of reverence reaffirmed the bond between humanity and nature. The Celts offered gifts as well, milk poured into the soil, bread left beside streams, or weapons cast into lakes. The offerings were not sacrifices of fear, but gestures of gratitude, a dialogue between the mortal and the divine. A reminder that power flowed in both directions. Both cultures also understood danger in this intimacy. If the spirits could bless, they could also curse. To neglect the sacred was to invite imbalance. A forgotten shrine, a polluted river, a felled sacred tree, each could awaken the wrath of the unseen. In Japan, storms or failed crops were often read as signs of kami displeasure. Ceremonies of purification, called harai, sought to restore harmony. For the Celts, the land itself could sicken if dishonored. Kings were judged not only by their laws but by their relationship with nature. A just ruler meant fertile soil and gentle seasons. This balance between blessing and danger shaped how both peoples saw the world, as a realm of coexistence, not conquest. The goal was never to control nature, but to live within it, to listen to its voice. Animals stood at the center of both mythologies, not as symbols of dominance, but as teachers. In Japan, the fox was sacred to Inari, god of harvest and prosperity. The fox, or kitsune, could cross the boundary between worlds, sometimes trickster, sometimes guardian. Its cunning reflected the duality of nature itself, benevolent and dangerous, loyal and wild. In Celtic lore, the stag led hunters deeper into the woods, a creature both beautiful and untouchable, often associated with gods of the forest like Cernunnos, the horned lord of beasts. The boar, fierce and untamed, represented courage and chaos. The raven, black wings cutting through gray skies, carried omens of war, but also wisdom. In both traditions, to kill without respect was a spiritual crime. Hunters prayed for forgiveness before taking life, acknowledging that every creature carried its own divinity. Even today, echoes of this survive in the Japanese itadakimasu before a meal, and in Celtic blessings for the land before a harvest. Death, too, was not an ending in these worlds, merely another passage. The Japanese saw the afterlife as a mirror of the living world. The spirits of ancestors watched over their descendants, receiving offerings during festivals like Obon. A neglected ancestor could become a yurei, a restless ghost longing for remembrance. The Celts believed much the same. The boundary between life and death thinned each year during Samhain, when the dead could walk among the living. Fires were lit, food left out, and rituals performed to honor those who had passed beyond. Neither culture viewed death with finality. Instead, it was part of a larger cycle, decay giving way to renewal. In both lands, time was not linear. It was circular. Birth, life, death, rebirth. The same cycle seen in seasons, in tides, in the endless rhythm of nature itself. There was no strict separation between gods and spirits in either mythology. The kami were everywhere in countless forms, from the radiant Amaterasu to the humble spirit of a home's hearth. The Celtic gods were similarly diverse, some mighty, others local guardians of wells, hills, and forests. Both pantheons blurred the lines between divine and mortal, natural and supernatural. For the Japanese, divinity could arise through deeds. A human of great virtue, wisdom, or tragedy might become a kami after death. In Celtic tradition, heroes and kings could likewise ascend to divine status, their stories merging into the landscape itself. Every myth was both a memory and a map of sacred geography. If the kami and the Celtic gods could meet, they would recognize each other. They would see the same reverence for water, for trees, for light and storm. Both believed in purification through nature. The Japanese through sacred water, the Celts through ritual fire. Both held festivals marking the turning of seasons, where the people danced, sang, and gave thanks to the earth. Even their languages echo similar ideas. In Japanese, kami means above or superior, but also that which is hidden. In Celtic thought, the divine was also hidden, the other world, just beyond sight, yet intertwined with the human realm. It could be glimpsed in dreams, in music, in the hush before dawn. As centuries passed, new religions rose, Buddhism in Japan, Christianity in the Celtic lands, but neither belief fully erased the old ways. In Japan, Shinto blended with Buddhist ritual, preserving its reverence for nature. In Europe, Christian saints took the place of local deities, yet many customs survived under new names. The wells were still visited, the trees still honored. Even now, ribbons hang from sacred branches, prayers tied to shrines, candles flicker beside streams. What endures is not the name of the gods, but the relationship they represent, humanity's conversation with the world around it. To the Celts and the Japanese alike, the divine was not somewhere else. It was here, in the wind, in the soil, in the breath. Today, in an age of machines and steel, we walk further from that sacred silence. But listen closely. When wind moves through the pines, when water folds over stone, when fire crackles beneath a night sky, the same spirits speak still. The kami of the east, the gods of the west, two reflections of the same eternal truth, that the world we walk upon is not merely earth. It is memory. It is energy. It is alive. History isn't just in the past. It's alive in the stories we choose to remember.